You talk also in the book about uh, growing up queer and being queer and the relationship with bird watching. Can you talk a little bit more about the sort of interplay between those two things? Did it how bird watching helped you with your own identity?
Sure. The birding was an escape valve for me because even before I was a birder, I knew I was queer, like from like the age of 5, very early. And somehow I had metabolized sort of society's message at that time in the late 60s and through the 70s that that was something that one should never, ever talk about, that it was something one had to keep hidden. So I did. And that was hugely painful. It was the metaphor I always used to describe it is that it was like being buried alive because the real you is there trapped in this coffin, banging, screaming to get out because you feel like you're suffocating. And meanwhile, everyone around you is walking over your grave, the green grass of your grave, having no idea that you're underneath there suffocating. So it was a very painful experience. And one of the ways I escaped that was through birding, because one of the wonderful things about birding is that it forces you to focus outside of yourself. So whatever your woes are at any given moment, whatever is getting you down, you've got to, for at least a time, be paying attention to a greater world, a much larger universe around you, and focusing very intently. If you want to see the birds, you got to be paying attention. So suddenly all your problems fall away, and instead you're observing a world that's not wrapped up in all of that. That's got its own wonderful things going on, that where you'll find all kinds of wonderful discoveries. And that was a huge help for me as a young closeted kid, all the way through high school, in fact. And then there's also just the fact, and I use this metaphor a little bit at the beginning of the book, where, the naming of birds and how we put labels on them gets super confusing, and it gets really complicated. And if you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to get all mixed up. And how do you navigate all those names and words and labels for the birds? And that's actually something all of us, I don't care who you are, gay, straight, whatever, have to navigate especially when we're young. Okay, well, all these labels, which apply to me, which fit, which chafe, what does it mean to me? And which do I just need to bust out of and redefine for myself? So that was also an interesting metaphor when I sat down and thought about it.